Local stories, local people. We're taking you inside Western Mass news. It's the Even Better Western Mass podcast with Dave Madsen.
Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Even Better Western Mass. We thought we'd take a break from our regular guests to talk about the coronavirus. Not so much the virus itself, but how people are coping with the virus. I know it's been different for us, for sure. I'm actually sitting in the studio in my living room that we've been using at Western Mass News every day for the last couple of weeks. I've only done this for the last couple of days. But to bring you updates on the hour about what's going on with the coronavirus, latest developments from the state, from the government itself, and from our local cities and towns. So it's our new normal. We're working in different shifts and doing different things at the TV station itself, trying to keep as few people in one place as possible, and the ones that are there, they're separated by 6 to 8 feet or even more. It has been the new normal for us. I guess I can't say that enough. But I was originally doing these at MGM Springfield, then as the coronavirus kind of progressed, we decided that it would be best if I did them here from at home. And that's where I am right now as we talk about things today. A couple of things to talk about. We have a very special guest from East Hampton, a man I've known for a long, long time. One of the things that they did in East Hampton to try to lift people's spirits as we all try to get through this coronavirus crisis. And you're going to hear from our favorite weather personalities, Janet Brown and Jacob Wyckoff, about how they're dealing with things, not only at the station, but at home, forecasting the weather from different locations and doing different things. And we'll talk about more of this from my perspective, too. But my first guest this week is a very special little girl in my heart. Her name is Sophie Margaret Madsen. She's my granddaughter. Sophie has been out of school for a few weeks now, and kids, of course, are going to be out of school until at least the early part of May. So staying at home and trying to do different things. So let's kick off with Sophie and me.
Hello.
Hi, Soph.
Hi.
Sophie's been off of school for a week so far, right?
Yes.
How's it been?
Good.
Is it good? Are you bored yet, or do you want to go back to school?
I'm not bored yet.
No, but Sophie likes school a lot.
Yes, I love school.
You love school. You're in second grade?
Yes.
No, yeah, second
Yeah,
grade.
second.
See, I don't remember. I'm old, right? Careful. So, I mean, you've been home with Dad and your brother, Jacoy.
Yes.
What have you guys been doing?
We play outside every day, and one time we did like school.
Yeah, you've been practicing
Yeah.
on things. What did this thing? You like Mo Willems, right?
Yeah.
And he's got this thing that he does online now. What is that?
It's like Mom Doodles. I don't know exactly what it is.
But if you look Mo Willems Doodles, and you'll be able to find it because it's done through the Kennedy Center in Washington. But he's one of your favorite authors. Still?
Yeah.
What do you like about Mo Willems?
He just has fun books.
Left hand. Well, the thing is Mo Willems maybe will see this. So you can tell him all about that. Why do you like his books?
They're just so fun, and I love the characters. I have lots of his books. The Pigeon, Piggy, and Gerald. That's all I have, but I know there's more.
There are a lot more.
Yes.
So we really don't know. You're supposed to go back to school after 3 weeks, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But we aren't sure.
No.
So what do you think about all of this?
Mm,
It's different,
yeah, it's different. Not having school.
but being home,
Yeah.
spending a lot more time outdoors.
Yeah.
Now, you did set up an account on Facebook so you can talk with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things you've done. And your moms and dads can do that for you through their Facebook accounts, is to set up something for you so it's for the kids so that they can talk with their friends. And you've been doing that over the last couple of days.
Yes.
You've been touching, well, just your friends and your relatives too, because you got relatives all over the place. It's a good way to keep up with people because, well, they're saying, we should be 6 feet apart, but we've been spending a lot of time together, so I think we're okay. But for these purposes, we'll be like 2 feet apart. But it's been fun to talk with other people and do that.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions for kids who things they might do, or it's no, but a lot of the teachers. Well, I know your brother's teacher, Mrs. Mason,
Yeah.
has put some stuff. She's reading.
Yeah.
What's she doing?
Like she's reading books on on YouTube, and she sends them up for the kids to or Facebook to listen to.
That's a lot of people are doing that. I don't know if you've noticed that a lot of singers, a lot of performers are putting concerts online, which is really fun. You know, so I don't know what this would be like if we didn't have the internet. Of course, that's all you've known is the internet.
Yeah.
See, but without the internet, it's made things a little bit easier. And things like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and stuff. You've been watching a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Any movie recommendations?
Frozen 2.
Yeah. Now,
we watched one last night, Spies in Disguise. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good. How about your review of Frozen 2? Did you was it better than first Frozen?
I like both of them.
You like both of them?
I don't know which one's better.
Yeah. They're both good?
Yes.
So you'd recommend that?
Yeah.
Any other movies?
The Spies in Disguise one. Probably Zombies 2. I really like that one.
Zombies 2?
Yeah.
Zombies 2? Really? What's good about that?
So fun.
I hear your brother?
Yeah.
He's hollering.
Come on down.
That's Sophie's 4-year-old brother, Jacoy.
Yeah.
He's upstairs. Something's probably wrong with the iPad. That's why he's calling us. Yeah. But so movie recommendations and any good books people your age should read?
A to Z Mysteries is really good.
Do you like the A to Z Mysteries? Sophie really, really likes school, and she's a really good student. Mm-hmm. You really are.
Yes.
I mean, when I was in second, I think I liked to go to school when I was in second grade. When I got a little bit further ahead, I didn't so much like school. But you've always liked school.
Yes.
And Dad's in a school too. So your dad's at SciTech.
Yes.
He hasn't been there for a few months for a number of reasons, but he's going to be going back, and pretty soon. So this is your first appearance on television. Well, you made an appearance when I retired.
Yeah.
You escorted me to the golf cart.
Hope you enjoyed my talk with Sophie. I know Sophie enjoyed it. And as I mentioned, she'd like to have her own YouTube channel someday. So maybe this, as I said, is a good kickoff to it. My next guest is Patrick Brough. Patrick from East Hampton, very involved in the community. We'll talk about that as we get into the interview with him. But he's also with Fink and Paris Insurance up there, and very involved in the business community itself. Well, a few weeks ago, at the start of this whole coronavirus thing here in the country and in Western Mass, Patrick got together with a bunch of some friends to really try to do something to lift up all of our spirits, and I think it's worked very well. Here's my interview with Patrick Brough. Let's talk about the motivation. I mean, the star on Mount Tom around Christmas time has become a tradition around here that you folks fired back up. But why did you decide to do it again?
So, as you know, over the last couple of weeks, things have been how they've been. And one of the things I saw was a news story, actually, that you guys had done regarding somebody out, I think it was in California. They had started this thing where they were putting up their Christmas lights to kind of bring back that, little bit of hope or a little bit of, that feeling of, better times, if you will. So I saw that story, and then I noticed that over at Deerfield, what's the mountain over there?
Sugarloaf, yeah.
Sugarloaf, thank you.
Yeah.
They have a tree that they put up there during the holidays, and I noticed that they had turned that on. So, it got me thinking, the star, like you said, everyone knows, you could see that star for miles around. You could see it from a couple of different communities. And it just got me thinking, we should fire that thing up. It's never run any time other than the holidays. This is a first. And so I made a call to the couple of folks that are, the star crew, if you want to call them that. And I said, hey guys, what do you think about this? And they were in. They were definitely in. It's something that was a simple thing, that just a matter of getting it back up and running, and the response has been amazing. It really has. It's really cheered up a lot of people, or given them some kind of little bit of hope.
Especially the longer this thing goes on, and you see a lot of people now putting up their Christmas lights, and
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm sure the Star motivated. Let's talk a little bit about the Star, because I know for years the Kiwanis took care of that, and we didn't have it for a few years, but you and a bunch of folks decided we need this.
Yeah. So the Star. So there's a couple of different stories. There was a star. So there's a star that's up there now that the Kiwanis Club worked to put up there. The dates are a little. I've heard different stories on different dates, but let's just stick with somewhere in the 70s or 80s, somewhere in that time frame. But before that, there was actually a different star up there. It was a wooden one that the JCs had put up there for a couple of years. The JCs disbanded somewhere, I believe, in the late 70s, early, either mid to late 70s or 60s, somewhere in that time frame. Yeah. And the Kiwanis Club picked this up. A couple of the guys from the Kiwanis said, "Hey, we should try and do this," and it became a project for them where they manufactured it or fabricated it, however you want to word it, right here in town. I actually know one of the guys who worked on it. I was able to talk to somebody last week, Fran Root, who was kind of part of that crew that brought the star up there to get it running, and it's been going ever since. You know, it's every year it's turned on. There's a couple of folks, Paul Novak. He's been, one of the guys that, in the old, before about 4 or 5 years ago, we restrung the lights, and it used to have those old bulbs that, you just plugged in there and hoped that they worked up on top of the mountain. And so Paul, during the holidays, and no matter how much snow or whatever, he would hike up there. If he noticed a couple of those bulbs were out, he'd hike up there and replace the bulbs throughout the season. Now we have some great LED bulbs that we've knock on wood, we haven't had to change one of them since every year we turn them on now.
Now the other part of that too, this is not just flipping a switch. There's a lot of work in putting this thing up.
There's some work.
There's some hiking.
There definitely is some work. There's a matter of getting up there, which the East Hampton Police Department Chief Alberti has made it really easy for us to get up there. And there's an access road up in the back there. Him and Dennis Scribner, and actually his son Miles, this year came up with us for the first time to do this. And so it's a way easier now. In November is usually when we turn it on, and we try and to figure out before it's going to snow so we can drive up there. When we decommission the star, usually in January, we have to hike up. So that's a little bit more of a thing. But we have to hike up. We do take all the bulbs out. There is some work that's involved in getting it up and running. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we all love doing it. It's part of our community, and we just love doing it. It's a great thing. And
this will stay up there for as long as this goes on?
It will. We have no time frame as far as when we're going to shut it down. We'll see how it goes. As long as it's making folks happy. And I think we're in this for the long haul. So it could be up there for all of 2020. 2020 isn't turning out to be spectacular, and everyone needs a little bit of hope for something. So if this is the one thing we can do to leave it running, then we definitely would leave it up there for as long as we could.
Patrick, on another note too, you're very tied into the business community, and with Think in Paris, and involved in the chamber and different events there. What's as this goes on now? The attitude of East Hampton is just a community of small business people. What's the attitude? How are they doing?
So, there's a lot of people that are struggling right now. There's a lot of different businesses that are struggling, that have had to close their doors, and they can't see any customers. The restaurant community, some of the restaurant community is hanging in there. They're doing their best they can with the takeout services and things like that. But there's some daycare centers that had to close. There are some restaurants that just are not equipped for takeout. There's some, bars and things like that. They're just not equipped for takeout either. So it's a struggle, but we have a pretty tight knit community here. I'm confident that if they can make it through this, that they'll all recover. I think that, I've seen a couple of different things where people are trying to organize some fundraising efforts right now. And I think that's kind of tough for everybody, because there's a lot of people, that just aren't working. So it's hard to decide, if I'm going to make a donation to this great, group to help these folks, or do I need to buy, groceries or pay my bills myself? So it's going to be a challenge.
It does. And really with no end in sight, really. I mean, I've heard predictions. This could carry out June, and but I think the other part of it is the the thing that we don't know a lot about this, and that must be the uncertainty in the business community. It's like there's no end in sight.
Yeah, I've said it before. It's not like this is a winter storm or even a hurricane or even a tornado. I mean, you have this beginning, middle, and end. The winter storms come in. Everyone knows. Go get your bread. Go get your milk and stock up. The storm's going to start on Friday, but by Sunday it'll be clear. We'll be shoveled out and we'll be back to normal. And there's none of that with this. There's this really unknown. As to we're in it now. This could be the middle, and who knows when the end's going to be.
Yeah, you look out your window and everything looks normal, but then you realize now when they're closing down parks and schools and everything else that now this is like nothing we've ever seen before.
No, and just driving down the street, if you need to go out for your essentials, you'll see it. I mean, we ran into Northampton to grab some supplies, and it was just eerie. A Saturday morning, never in a million years would you assume at 10:30 on a Saturday morning that there'd be, no cars anywhere really.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. It's frightening,
It really is. Well, I think the one hope that we have now is when we get kind of down in the dumps is just look up to Mount Tom and see that star on the side.
I agree. We've gotten a lot of great feedback from folks. It's really helping folks kind of get through this a little bit. And if that's the least we can do, then we're happy we were able to help folks get through with this just little gesture. And I think it goes a long way.
Sure does. Patrick, thanks very much.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you. Stay healthy and wash your hands.
That star on the mountain, just one of many things that people here in Western Massachusetts have been doing and will continue to do to try to lift our spirits. We had something happen here in Southampton, and I know it happened in West Springfield the other day, too. Teachers who've been out for a few weeks now organizing at the Norris School here in town a parade that took them, many of the teachers in town, on the bus routes. And students and their parents and grandparents were standing by the side of the roads with signs and everything else, just greeting them and thanking them for all that they do. It was really a neat thing. They came by the end of the street and with their horns beeping and people waving, and it's things like that we need now. I know other folks have put Christmas lights up, posted things online about what they're doing with their kids. A lot of funny stuff coming out. Entertainers have gone online too, performing concerts for us from their own homes. We're all in this together. It's like rich, poor, famous, not so famous. We're all stuck. We're all on an equal plane as far as dealing with this COVID-19 and the coronavirus crisis, including the folks at Western Mass News. This has been a different time. As I mentioned at the start of this today, we're all working from home some part of the shift, reduced shifts, working apart from each other, 6 to 8 feet apart, really a skeleton crew at the TV station itself, including the folks that you see each and every night. So I asked them to put some stuff together for me just on their thoughts on dealing with this, not only professionally, but personally.
Hi everybody, it's Beth Ward. This is one of my dogs, Fenway. He's exhausted because we've been going for so many walks since everybody's at home. My dear friend Dave Madsen asked me to share with you what it's been like to work in the news business during this crisis. And I have to tell you that I have, with the exception of 9/11, never worked so much in my life. Just trying to get everything, trying to get all the information to you guys, keep on top of everything, all of the press conferences that Governor Baker is having and the president is having, the task force at the federal level. And it's just go, 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 go. Honestly, from the moment I wake up, had a moment the other night. I was sitting with my husband and, you can't help but to be affected. And I had a moment where, you see all the video every day, all day, we're eating, living, breathing, all that is COVID-19. And I just had to have a moment and have to admit, I got teary because it's just tough for everybody. But I am so thankful and so blessed to work with the people that I do. And we make light, we have fun when we can at a socially accepted distance. So it's a new normal, and you know, we're all working separate, a lot of us from our homes, and we're gonna hopefully get everything to you that you need to know and do it in a timely manner, and sometimes with hopefully a lot of times with a smile on our face, because I think that's the key to getting through all of this. So we love our viewers, and we're all going to get through this.
One of the biggest challenges in working in local news is the inability to turn things off. And what I mean by that is you at home, you the viewer, if you don't want to hear the latest news on the coronavirus, you can press the power button and turn it off. And working here at Western Mass News every evening, 4 to 6 o'clock, I hear those numbers, I hear those stories, I hear sort of the death and destruction of everything. And I will say that it has played a toll. It has created some anxiety, just hearing it nonstop over and over again. And so it's really important for me to meditate. It's really important to me to kind of decompress, turn things off when I do get home, or I don't get bombarded by the news. I hear about it because I'm in it, and that's my biggest challenge here in being in the news.
Hey everybody. So working in news during the coronavirus is interesting. First of all, we are essential employees. The news never stops. So we are trying to find ways to work by social distancing. I have set up this sweet new office in my house, trying to do half my work here at home. So I come home at night after doing the 10 and the 11, sleep a little longer than I should, and then when I decide that my workday is going to start, I come in here, do my forecasting, get as much done from home as I can. I can even work on graphics from home, and then I go in and I do the newscast. It's tough being in news because the reporters still have to go out and about, but we are constantly getting updates from our bosses and our company about different things we can do to stay safe, what to do, what not to do. So it's challenging. It's definitely weird. I mean, I would say a lot of us are feeling a little freaked out. It's hard not to be because this is something we've never had to deal with before. And we're in it constantly. You know, I was telling viewers they can just turn off the TV and walk away. But for us, we unfortunately have to constantly report on this stuff and cover it. And it makes it difficult. You know, it takes a toll on your spirit. It takes a toll on your mental health. So we have to make sure that we're really taking good care of ourselves. And I think that we're doing a pretty good job.
Like many families, the coronavirus has really caused families to have to alter their plans. We're certainly not the exception to this rule, but we had plans that we wanted to get out and about in the community, go to water parks, go to playgrounds, that sort of thing. But this has basically, because of the stay-in-place orders by not only Massachusetts, but Connecticut, it's really kind of just caused us to enjoy each other's company at home. And so I've found that kids, they don't need perfection, but they need stability. And so that normal routine of waking up, making a good breakfast, enjoying each other's time, whether it's a board game or reading to them, or my daughter, we practiced her ballet for half an hour at home while watching her ballet class on the TV that we had taped from a previous week. So, you know, we're just bonding as a family. We're getting closer to one another. And my kids are young enough that they don't really understand what's going on. But one day in the future, she will understand and hopefully remember, you know, how this did bring us together as a family. My little dude, he enjoys the outdoors, so he'll run around and pretty much fall around. Just enjoy spending some time outside while the weather is starting to get nice. But overall, as a family, I think what we do is just enjoy each other's company, whether that's reading, playing some music and dancing, or just sitting out and vegging out for a little bit.
My thanks to Beth and Jacob and Jana for taking the time to do that. They've had very busy schedules over the last few weeks, and to be able to do that for me, I really appreciate it. And for you too, I hope you did. As I look back on this and my career and my life, I don't ever remember a time like this. And unless I think you lived through World War II, folks a little bit older than me, as far as my generation is concerned, I think the first thing that really struck us, and I don't mean this is exactly like it, but what it's done to the nation. For my generation, I really think it was the assassination of President Kennedy. When that happened in November of 1963, everything came to a stop. He was assassinated on a Friday. The funeral was the following Monday, and there was a month of mourning. I think the country was in a state of mourning for probably more than a year after that. 9/11, another one. That day where everything stopped for all of us, the realization that our country could be under attack. And now this, but this is completely different. There was a slow beginning to this, and right now, as we sit here, we really don't know when all of this is going to end and what the outcome of it's going to be. We can only pray, and we can only hope that as we all listen to everybody the medical experts who are researching this and working with this day in and day out for their advice on what we should do. The other thing for me, and I think a lot of people in the baby boomer generation, we have grown old. And coming to the realization when they were first saying that, well, here are the folks that are most in jeopardy, the folks 60 and over, and coming to the realization that this time around, they're talking about us. And they are. It's been really kind of a reality check, knowing that you're now in that age or that generation that is kind of vulnerable. I think we get to a point where we think we're kind of indestructible, but the fact is nobody's indestructible, and we have to heed all of the warnings and pay attention and listen to our bodies. No one knows that better than any of us when we feel right, when we feel wrong. And if we feel any of the symptoms, don't ignore them. Your temperature going up, you're starting to feel like you've got the sniffles, maybe the start of a cold, if you have a headache, if you have aches and pains, don't ignore it. Call your doctor and find out the best plan of action for you. It could be just staying at home and letting it ride its course. Could be having to go to the hospital to get some help in dealing with it. But the realization is that, at least my generation now, we're right in the heart of this. So take care of yourselves, please do.
As we sit here right now, we don't really know how long this is going to go on. So we thank you for watching this edition of Even Better Western Mass. Any advice for the folks at home?
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. How long?
20 seconds.
20 seconds, and that is 2 verses.
Of the happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And how many? Let it go?
Yeah. 10 times.
You have to let it go. So just,
you have to say it, let it go.
Well, you might as well sing it if you're going to say it.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So let it go. And thank you for watching. And just be safe, be well, be kind to everyone. And we'll check with you next time on Even Better Western Mass. Thanks for watching and for listening.